Hi everyone, how are you today? Happy Friday. It's so nice to be back with you today. We're going to do a little lesson on gypsy or stack boho beading, however you want to call it. And basically what it is just to take off on your basic 3 beads on a head pin. It's very, very simple, but in order to assemble it properly to go up a neckline, there are a few little tricks. And that's kind of fun to go over. So I have some nice pieces over here that I've made I'd like to share with you. Some are made with brass stampings and some are made with Beaded 1928. But at any rate, I think you can enjoy it. So come on over here and let's bead. Hi guys, I'm back. I'm sure glad you showed up today or whenever it is that you see this, because I really love this kind of beading. I'm not a big beader. I like beading. I love beaded work. It always fascinates me, but I'm not into the little shape beads or, the intense type of beading. I do basically this beading on wire and cage work, and that's my kind of beading. But you know what? It's okay because it works. It works for the style of things that I make, which tend to be kind of boho, or they can be kind of streamlined too. I've been learning more about that, but yeah, my stuff is a little bit fussy and a little bit boho. So, stack boho beading or gypsy beading is perfect for someone like me. And I'll just show you. This is a piece I made, I don't know, a year or two ago, and it's got a nice tassel. This is piece of 1928, and then all this chain coming down with the check beads. That's fun, but that's not gypsy beading. That's just tassel. But up here's your gypsy beading. And all gypsy beading or stack boho beading, whatever you want to call it, some people take exception. This is basically connectors, bead connectors. They can be all attached one after another, or they can have a little bit of chain in between. And it's as you like it. Now these all match. They're all exactly the same thing. It's brown iris beads and these wonderful casts, which I'm sad to tell you, they don't make anymore. Factory went out of business, but I think I've found who might have the dye, so we'll see if we can get them made again and if they'll be affordable, because everybody's nuts about these cone beads. They're just incredible. But anyway, it's just like this. Just, you take a piece of wire or a head pin, eye pin, clip the end off, and just, beat up your sections. I'll show you a few more for instances. This one I love. It's just like a carnival to me. All these colors, and it's kind of your, I don't know, hot Southwest colors. I kind of like those, like the turquoises and corals and stuff, probably because they look good on me. But anyway, basically, all I've done is little sections. And again, these sections are not long. This one's about an inch. This one's about a little bit shy of 3/4. I don't like to see them get more than an inch, because then the wire will bend and they'll get wonky looking, and they just don't have the flow that they should have. So, stay, if you can stay like 3/4 inch to an inch when you're making them, I think you'll be better off. But anyway, that's how I do them. And as you can see, I have not done the same thing on both sides going all the way up. I've mixed it up. I have the same color family, same colorways, same type of bead caps and stuff like that, but I've mixed it up. Like this one's different from this one. This one is different. This one's got a little bit of wrapping on it. I love to do one or two that have a little wrapping because it gives it such texture. And it's got, I'm going to just kind of show you guys real close. I don't know if that would, yeah. You see this bead? I'm nuts. I am over the moon for this bead. You guys ever tried it? It's actually not a bead, it's a cap. And we carry them at the site and we're always running out. I buy them like 10 gross at a time and get them plated, but they're always running out. They're like a screw end, almost. And they just give your piece so much texture, because as you can see, these ends are not hand wrapped. But when you look at it, it kind of gives you the feeling as though it was. Because you don't have to hand wrap your ends. You can just loop them over. That's how the check rosary chain is made. It's not hand wrapped. But today people are preferring the hand wrapped chain, and it is really cool. So you can give it that look without having to do it. So there you go with that. These beads are cool too. Let me show them to you. If you can see them, these little mottled beads here. We have another one here. They're all different colors. These are check, and they're just so unique. We have them in a couple of colors, but I like these hot colors the best. They are just the best thing for adding a little vibe to your stuff, you know. But I've just gone up this, and just to tell you how long this is, this chain, up the sides. It's a hair over 12 inches. So you need to do two 12-inch lengths. And then on this one, it doesn't appear that I've done an yeah, it does. I did an extender on this one. And then I always like to finish off my ends with a little something. I don't like to leave chain just hanging there. To me, it looks sad to say like a cheap import. And, you know, we don't do stuff like that. We do artisan jewelry. We do stuff that's finished. And it takes so little time to put a little something like that on the end. And it just makes it look like higher quality, which it is. Especially if you're going to go to the trouble of doing all this work and then using the Bisou by 1928 products. And then you're using, in this one I used the Czech Millefiori bead, not beads, cabs. They're not cheap. They don't cost the earth, moon, and stars either, and we do have discounts all the time. If you know BisouBoutiques.com, you know that. I have better discounts than about anybody, especially on the Bisou 1928 line. If you punch in BSUE 1928, all caps BSUE 1928, you can get 25% off on this line any day. So that helps a lot. And you're not going to find these parts anywhere else. So it's like I'm saying, you know, why don't you make it right? Because you got all this good stuff in here. So let's make it right. Let's finish off our ends nice so they're not poking and gouging us. And let's put a little finial bead on the end. It just makes it so much nicer. That's my little soapbox for today. All right, so we have that one. Here's another one I did. And you know, you don't have to use my products here. I mean, I like them, I use them, I call them out because I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the stuff I have. I've never in my life had as nice a stuff to work with, and it brings me such joy to be able to offer it to you. So once again, these are Bisou 1928 gingerbread, pewter, made in the United States, Burbank, California, by 1928 Jewelry Company. And this, they made this mount from the most exquisite antique piece. It's kind of a piece of jewelry history almost. It's just gorgeous. There's nothing like this out here. The way they do filigree is amazing. But we're talking about gypsy beading. So once again, I've done the same thing. But I have quite a long extender on the back. Now, to save a little time and money, I used a piece of chain scrap to do my extender. You see that? And how far did I go up with my beads? Well, let's measure. It's about, I'm going to say 10.5 inches with the loops. And there are, excuse me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 connectors up each side. And they all coordinate. As you can see, I kind of matched them up the best I could going up. And they measure about an inch. Most of them about an inch, or just a little less. This one's a little bit more, maybe. And you know, if you do one that's a little bit longer, for me, just a little tip in designing, I would not take the one that's a little bit longer and start with it. That's me. I think you have better balance and better flow if you put it a little bit higher up, so that when this piece is worn, it's kind of resting toward the shoulder a little bit more, or the middle of your chest, instead of right down here. I use shorter ones and then graduate them up a little bit, and then I go back to short. And then, like I tell you, I don't like to make it go all the way around the back with these beads usually. If you can't, you can, but you need to shorten up the connectors. 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, because they'll they'll get wonky and kink up and you won't like it. So anyway, so I've got an extender on here. Just to tell you how long I've gone with my extender, it's about 3 inches. Now that's kind of long for an extender. Most people do 1 inch to 2 inch, but that's up to you. This piece is going to be about 22 inches around the neck. For some people, that might be a little short to suit them. So with your extender, you can make it longer. And then once again, like I've told you before, on this type of beading, and this isn't the best match either. I should put a dark lobster on there. But anyway, you've got these sections all along the sides that are jump rings. So you can just go through them. So say you don't like it that long. You want it short. You want to wear it shorter. Just hook it up longer. And then you have this big piece hanging off, but all you do is just wrap it around at the back of your neck. It'll be all right. It'll work out. That doesn't look so good, but you get the gist. But you can make it shorter that way. It's like automatically adjustable, longer, shorter. And people love that. When you can give them options in your work, it's just smart design. It shows you didn't cut any corners. You thought about your customer or your giftee or yourself when you wore it to how it's going to fit really nice. And you always want to think about that. How is it going to fit? And with this sort of beading, you can give it a lot of texture and you can make it fit super. So again, that's why I like it. And then this piece is the one I made for the Facebook Live video last week. And everybody enjoyed it. In fact, somebody is waiting for this. I told them, wait for my video to be done and for Facebook, and then you can buy it. But anyway, this piece is on our website in the raw brass, and this is torch patina. That's how I made it. Because you see how iridescent it is. It's got magenta, it's got pink, it has blue, it has greens and toasted browns in it, and I did that with a torch. It didn't take very long. And then after it cooled off, or you can quench it and then dry it off, you want to seal that. Some people like Renaissance wax. I'm not crazy about it if it's going to touch skin. Could have allergies. So I would just use a little bit of matte lacquer, spray lacquer. Krylon's a good brand. And then you seal it off. Because if you don't seal torch patina, it's transient. In other words, it could go bye-bye on you or lighten up. So anytime you do a patina like that, you want to seal it, okay? All right. So I did my little tassel. You know how I love my tassels. I've got some repurpose. I've got a little bit of acrylic in there. And this chain's awesome. You see it? It's got little chatons put in there. This is Korean chain. I don't know if you guys know it, but Korean handmade chain is about the best chain you can buy right now, and it has been for quite some time. I always like to get US made if I can, but I'm just not liking US chain so much anymore. After I saw Korean, I was hooked. It's got such great patina right off the roll. This is raw brass. Look at that beautiful patina. This is great. But this is basically put together by hand, connected, and it's sections and connectors all the way. So when you think in a foot you're going to take all these connectors off of it, it's a bargain. And that's how I use it. I never take a piece of chain like this and go up all the way around the neckline with it. Do it in sections, kind of like we do with the gypsy beads. Do it in sections because you save money that way. And also, it's more appealing, I think. So I did that. I have my tencha cabochon in the middle. These are made in Japan. They're wonderful. They've always been made in Japan. There are some Chinese ones now that are not as nice, but this one's just gorgeous, and this is Japanese. And I'm out of them right now, but we have more coming. So hang in there because you're going to want to try them. And they're not terribly expensive, which is nice. And then on this one, I haven't used beads all the way up. I've used chain. Chain connectors. Again, this is Korean chain, hard to get. I don't have any to share with you right now. I can get it, but it's a little difficult. Big, long story. But here's a piece of it so you can see how it's made. And it's all these connectors. How wonderful are these? So I just took them like connectors and put them in between. And then the lengths are, whoops, a little over an inch to an inch and a quarter. That's as long as I'd like to go. And I'm using, in this one, some acrylic, some fire polish, some check. This is repurposed. These are so amazing. I love them. These, I can't get you any rats. I've got a little bit of Chinese celestial crystal in here. It's just all kind of stuff, but it's all the same colorway. And that's what's so fun about it, because you can take it and just make it your own. Just work it. This one, I spent a long time working on this one, because I'll be honest with you, when I started out with it, it did not look like this at all. It wasn't going this way at all. But that's what's so fun about it. And then the more you do it, the more you get on to how this works and how they fit up and so forth. And it won't take you as long. You'll have your way. You'll have your beat going. It won't take you as long. This one is quite long. I'm going to measure it for you. It's got a long extender on it too. Yeah, this is a good 30 inches probably, because you want to measure this too as in part of your length. 2.5. Yeah, it's probably 30, 31. And then it's got an extender too. I made this rather long. Normally when I make these, yeah, it's got like an 1.5 inch extender. Normally when I make something like this, I don't go out this long. I like it to lay up a little bit higher on the chest. This one's way down long. But I did it that way because, I don't know if you guys saw it, but I did a video when I was over at the 1928 factory and I made one kind of sort of like this. It was on Facebook Live. And I made it and I gave it to my friend Pia, who's the designer over there. And she told me to make it that way. And another tip I want to pass on to you is if you have customers who might have metal allergies, you could finish beading it right about here. Stop. And then make it go around the back with a piece of ribbon or a piece of leather cord. And then that way it won't rub against their neck and break them out if they have metal allergies. So that's the way Pia wanted hers, because she is allergic. Can you imagine that? Designing jewelry all day and she's allergic to metal. Ah! But anyway, there's this one. All right, I suppose you'd like to see me make one. So I've got one partially done. So you can see I've got my chain. And to bead one up, you know, to do a, okay, here's how I do that. You'd probably like to see that too, although I'm sure you know how. But anyway, I've got these head pins. Now you could use wire. I would use 20 gauge wire. If you just want to use wire, cut it off and loop it, that's fine. I have head pins. This is my little trick. If I can only get head pins and I can't get eye pins too, I get head pins because I can just take the end off. And then I can loop it. So when I loop this piece, and this was a 3-inch, we have these on the site. We call them dirty brass. They're not brass ox. They're not rusted iron. They're somewhere in between. And so they blend with a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go to the last one here in my wolf pliers, and I'm getting the sniffles down here, about 3/4 inch up. I'm going to turn it, loop over, cross the legs. That's what they call it. Break the neck and cross the legs. That's the way I learned it. Now I'm going to take my other flat nose pliers and I'm going to loop it around. I usually go about 2. If you have a better way of doing this, by all means do it. This is the way I do it. Now you can see I've got a piece hanging out. This is where it gets a little tricky, because you got to get this up close or it's going to scratch people. So I'm going to put this down and nip it because I don't want it to go flying off toward Javi. Okay, so I got that nipped off. So now what I'll do is I'll take and feel over that and see if I got roughness. A little bit, but once I get my bead down on there, it'll be fine. So I'm just going to take a couple beads and do this real quick. It won't look great, but it doesn't need to. I just want to show you how this goes. I like to use some texture, use some different stuff as I bead it up. These are just little acrylic beads. We have lots of them at the site. They're all in colorways and bead mixes, and they're great mixes. And I'll just tell you that all of these beads are designer quality. They're not craft store quality, and they came from the back closet in the design room at 1928. So these are the same type that they've used, and they're really wonderful. Okay, so I just snip it off here, bend it, loop it, pull it around, and pull it out a little bit more. Let me look and see if I got my loops about the same size. Yes, they should be. Now I'm going to twist it, and it might be kind of hard to get it to go that many loops. I did that a little bit wonky, but you get the gist. I'm going to take the end of it off. You get the gist. Okay, now if I have a sharp place here, it doesn't look like I do, but let me look and see if something's sticking out a little bit. I just take these pliers and I just kind of press it in. And when I'll do this is one of my final steps when I make chain like this, as I always go back over each one of the loops and have a second look at it before I give it to anybody, wear it, put it up for sale, because I want to make sure nothing's scratching. I check all my jump rings to make sure they're really nice and flush, and then I check my loops. That's making a quality piece. That's what that's all about. So I have my pieces put together, and as you can see here, I have done everything similar going up. So what I want to do now is I want to put that and attach it. So I had some big jumps here that were the right color, and I don't know where I put them. What's that? That's it. All right, we found it. Okay, these are probably 10s, come to think of it. I thought maybe they were 8s. Probably 10 millimeter. And the reason why it's so big is because, yeah, it's the same one. The reason why it's so big is because you have to not only get it through the end there, but you have to come in to your drilled hole. And this piece has kind of a big shoulder here, so you have to go into the metal a little bit farther to get it. So if you don't have a big enough jump ring, it's going to kink, and it's not going to look right. Now I want to get that nice and flush. Okay, and I'll come back and I'll check that too when I'm done. And here's another one. Okay, make sure I've got the right. Okay, this way I think. No, this way. All right. So I'll go ahead and I'll get that on. And then the way I drilled this is I use my drill press. If you don't have, I love my drill press. If you don't have one, you can use a Dremel handheld drill of any kind. Ding it with your center punch first to get your pilot hole going, and then drill it. If you don't want to do that, you like the idea of using a drill, you can take a big fat nail and your steel bench block, and you can go ahead and kind of pound it. You get to go through. You're going to have a bunch of filing to do, though. It's going to be rough when you're done, but works. You can do that, or you can pound it part way through and finish it off with your hole punches. Then, like this one, these are the ones we sell, hole punch, but they're just not strong enough to go through something with this much dimension. So you're going to have to get a drill or a nail. But however it works, hey, get your hole made and then just make sure it's nice and smooth, and who cares, right? But you're going to have to drill it. It doesn't come like this. Okay, so now I've got another one. By the way, this is Aqua Copper Patina. And it is a finish that I did not make. We have it at the website temporarily. We have it in the fall. So we'll have it now until it sells down, and then it'll be gone. And then after that, we're going to bring Choxy back for a little bit. Remember Choxy, the chocolate brown brass everybody liked? We're going to do that. Okay, so here's my tassel, but I don't want to do just one thing. It just looks kind of weak like that. You need more than that. So what am I going to do? Well, what have I got here? I've got a whole roll of this stuff. Let's see, how am I doing it? Now, when I put this together, I want to make sure, here's my little finial bead I'm going to put on the end of that. I want to make sure that it's not going to bang into this big bead because it'll make it clumsy looking. So I need to pull this up a little bit and put it on. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just eyeballing it, but to count it, you know, when you have these beads like this, you can count it. 1, 2, I'm going to go 4. And then I'm going to cut it right here, which is a shame because I'm cutting through a loop, but if I don't, I'm going to have to get another jump. And I may not have one that fits through that because it's really small. Okay, so I've got that. Then I'm going to have to cut this off, I see, because I didn't. Boy, that phone's just ringing today, isn't it, Harvey? Yeah, ringing like crazy. Maybe they're all joining Build a Line. It's time for Build a Line again, guys. That's the class where I teach you how to get your act together. I'm still working on it. But it's a class where I teach you how to build stuff in a straight line. Looks like one person made it, you know, like you would be doing it for commercially, which is a good exercise. Talks about who your customer is, if you know. You know, if you're making jewelry to sell, you need to know who your customer is. Talks about pricing, what prices sell the best, all that stuff. Want to know more about it, you can contact me, Brenda Sue Lansdowne, at Facebook. Or why don't you go to the website, bsuboutiques.com. Why don't you go there and sign up for my newsletter? Because there'll be, I've been sending out links that are about it all the time lately. And that way you can find out all about it. This is our 5th year. And I'm happy to say that a lot of people have benefited from taking the class. And I have benefited from teaching it. Being honest, I have benefited a lot. We all learn from each other. Okay, so I'm going to cut it off right here. I have to be careful so I don't get my skinny little jump. Okay, there we go. That is such thin wire to put in there. Alrighty. So now I'm going to put my other little finial on. And, you know, I don't have them down here, but I might use smaller jumps to do this, but it's working for now. So for the sake of argument and getting done, let's just put it on with my shaky hands before I drink too much coffee. And I've got some mixed metals on here. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have your jump rings and your, you know, your head pins and everything match unless you're making that kind of, you know, work. In that case, then yeah, but this isn't that kind of stuff. So you've got some leeway there. All right, so now I'm going to go through here and I'm going to attach it to this jump, this top jump. Okay, and get it nice and flush. This is a little bit wonky. Nice and flush. That's pretty good. I'll come back to it. And then I get another one for the other side. But this way I've built it out enough so that it makes sense. It doesn't look like you were cutting corners. You don't want to do that. Okay, so this goes on the other side. It's still going to stick out a little bit funny. I may have to play with this. I think it's good enough for now, but I'll show you what I mean. All right, what I mean is this. See, this is a big bead hitting this big bead, hitting this big bead. So it's going to maybe stick out and not flow quite as well. But I will know better once I hook it up to the bottom. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll hang it. We'll pull it up and see what we have. So I have to get up in here. And then I want to get this middle one, so I'm going to turn it this way so I get the right one. You just like me to put the wrong one. Now I lost it. Here it is. All right. And close. All right. Let's see. Oh, it's okay. I don't know. I might work on a little bit more because it kind of wants to all go to the side. Maybe I didn't catch the right one. Maybe it flipped over. Yeah, it flipped over. I'll have to rehook it. I'll do that later, guys. But it's going to be all right. Maybe I should. I'm going to leave it go for now, but it just needs to come around this side. What happened is I hooked it up upside down. That's why I did that. But it's going to look like this. So that's going to be pretty. Okay, so all I have to do now is decide how long I want this to be. Which, you know, that's subjective, so I don't really need to teach you about that. I've already showed you with the other ones. But if I put this on like this, it's going to be, I like to get one more beaded section in there and then a little bit of bead chain, some chain at the back. Maybe I would use this stuff. And then I would put on my clasp and I'd have it finished, except for I have not discovered yet what I want to put in here. I could put a little chaton, but it's too wimpy. I could put in some no-hole pearls, but I don't want to put cream or white in there. That's not going to be any good. So I'm going to have to hunt around and see if maybe I can find some little copper beads that I can cut up. Maybe and stick in there. And I wouldn't put it in like that, but I have to get it nice and flush somehow. Put it in there. Little copper bead would be great. I don't know. If you have any ideas, put them in the comments. Because this is going to sit there till I find the right thing to put in there. And once again, you could take and do cord, or you could do some ribbon at the back if you'd rather. So that's my take on it. Gypsy beading or stacked boho beading. I hope you have some fun with it. It's a great way to use up a bunch of stray beads. Look, see, I've got stray beads. Stray beads, stray beads. Bits of chain. Great way to use up bits of chain. Just have some fun with it. Don't be hard on yourself. Just sit there and make sections, make connectors, and see how it goes. I love doing that. I love sitting at night and just making connectors. I don't ever have enough time to do that. I love doing that. Making these little finial beads. Just make yourself a pile of them, and then you have them for any time you need them. It's great. All right, thanks bunches for watching. I hope you learned something that you enjoy. You got a little tip from it. I appreciate your company. Come back and see us again. And remember, we're at www.bsuboutiques.com. That's the home of the good stuff. You will be amazed if you come over there at how much stuff we have. We have more stuff than we've ever had. We have some great vintage right now, too. So come and see us and have a look. All right? Okay, that's enough of me. Love ya. Come back and see me again the next time.